This is the Biddy, a pocket drum machine by Curious Sound Objects. This is the case I 3D printed to help it sit flat on the table. And these are the knobs I adorned with felt to make them soft and squishy. I also caught up with Biddy's creator Nick Chelyapov to learn more about the design and manufacturing of the device. Let's get started. I used Tinkercad to sketch out my idea, which is basically a box with the same shape as the Biddy, with openings for the switches and knobs. I created an SVG of the Curious Sound Objects logo and punched it out from the speaker area. There are openings for the 4 main buttons, and for the smaller mode buttons, I modeled small pieces to extend those to the outside of the enclosure. It's flat on the front to print with that side down on the build plate. I put some posts inside to brace against the board and created a matching bottom lid. After printing this design and playing around with it, I missed being able to feel the edges of the fancy button caps. See, the speaker is flush with the front of the buttons, so in order to lower the enclosure so the buttons stick out, I needed to figure out something else for the grill. I ended up splitting off an additional piece that's just the grill with the CSO logo, and then the lower part has an opening big enough for the speaker to pass through. This new revision does give me more options for mixing and matching colors too. As a treatment to dress up the knobs, I brought back a crafting idea I first worked on many years ago: needle felting over the surface of the knob. A felting needle is barbed to catch the fibers of wool as it passes through, tangling and matting the fibers together along the way. So with hundreds and thousands of tiny pokes, a solid shape is molded. The fibers get denser and the whole thing shrinks as you continue to poke. After shaping with a larger needle, switching to a finer needle refines the surface texture and stiffens the whole thing so it's very strong but still soft to the touch. Felting takes a while, but it's a fun and easy craft you can do while you're watching TV, so long as you're careful not to stab yourself too many times. While I finish up these felt knobs, I'd like to thank DigiKey, the sponsor for this video. They carry dozens of 3D printers and hundreds of filaments, as well as many of the electronics components used to build the Biddy itself, and they ship super fast. You can find more info at the link in the description. If you've been around my channel a while, you may remember a previous project of Nick's, the Patient Alpha circuit bending kit, based on a sound sample noise toy. The Biddy is like a souped-up, from-scratch execution of a similar idea, and I had the privilege of hearing more about it from Nick himself.
This was the first Biddy prototype, and it's the same speaker, because I'd already ordered like all the speakers from DigiKey and like Parts Express and whatever. It's an aluminum car door panel speaker because one of my own personal tech requirements, like quote unquote tech requirements, is that it's loud enough to be annoying. You know, if like if your like significant other, teacher want to take it away from you, then you like, you know, you have something fun. This is basically an Arduino running the Mozzie library, which made all of this possible. You know, like once I was able to get like a wave file playing from an Arduino on demand, then my brain is like, oh, okay. It's like I needed a project that I was excited to like sweat through. It took me like 4 years, you know, and then like, let's add a couple knobs and like, you know, how many buttons does it need? You know, 1 or 4 or 8 or 16, you know? I settled on 4 and 2 knobs. So inside here is a Nano, like an original Nano. And then I tore apart a Bluetooth speaker, you know, like one of those like little Anchor, like 2x2 inch ones. This is the board from that speaker, and this is the battery. The board I'm only using as like the audio input from the Arduino to, and the amp to the speaker. And I'm also using the battery from the speaker because it was like 4.5 volts and it was fine and everything was good. So actually this very first BIDI prototype, you can stream your phone to if you set it.
It's also a Bluetooth speaker. Oh, and you didn't think about carrying that functionality through to the final prototype?
You know what? I actually that was a funny one to like let go of. In the beginning, so I did the duct tape manual wired version, and then a friend named Owen Trueblood, I was talking to him about it, and he's like, I can do that. Owen did the first order a PCB and like hand solder version. Gavin Lund did version 2, and Brian Martins did the final version. The very first BIDI, you know, we've got some like manual rework. It's got the super sharp, like these battery clips like hurt, you know? Finding those smooth rounded ones really kind of finished the product design because it doesn't suck to hold the PCB.
Yeah,
anymore.
It's true. It's true. Well, you really hold it by the batteries.
You know, then it had to be done by robot. I found a company in the U.S. called Macrofab. So we uploaded the Eagle file. We uploaded the BOM. They source the components. They get the boards printed. They assemble at least the robot components, and then it gets shipped here, looking like this, like basically with no speaker. I put the speaker on some posts. I solder the speaker into the 2 tabs on the PCB. That's kind of a fiddly operation, but it, you know. Also, like I like QAing every single one. I snap the buttons on. I attach the knobs. Or I flash the bootloader from the JTAG FTDI interface at the top, which kind of reminds me of like the Matrix like neck jack. And then finally I upload like whichever sketch I feel like that day to the ones that are shipped, because I haven't decided like what is the one sound pack they get. Yeah, and the desktop app, it all it does is it loads the like precompiled hex files and just flashes the Arduino board.
If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. I hope you'll subscribe with the bell to be notified of my future uploads, subscribe to my email newsletter, and find me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to DigiKey for sponsoring, and I'll see you next time. This video was made with generous donations from viewers like you through Patreon and YouTube memberships.